Disclaimer, I do not own any rights to any content, videos, research, music, unless it is of my own creation. Everything is for entertainment and commentary purposes. All information is of my own opinion or are alleged until factual evidence has been presented. Cue the music. Hey, everyone. I am back with the second installment of Who the F Did I Marry TikTok series. These are going to be part 6 through 10. I'm not going to have a long introduction. Thank you all for subscribing, liking, and commenting. I'm going to go ahead and get right into it.
Okay, so this is part 6 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? So, where we left off. So, obviously, my doctor had called and told me there was no heartbeat, the pregnancy was not viable at that point, and I was cramping and spotting at work. Went into my best friend's office and immediately started crying. She was like, "What's going on?" And I said, I told her what the doctor said, and she grabbed her keys, grabbed her purse, and was like, "Let's go, I'm taking you home." On my way home, I called my boyfriend and told him what the doctor said, and he was like, "I'll meet you at home." So he was coming from Duluth, went straight home. And so about 24 or 48 hours later, I had a doctor's appointment. And my doctor gave me 3 options. First option, let everything happen naturally. Your body will expel the fetus on its own. Second option, you can take a pill which will induce expelling the fetus at home. The pill basically will cause you to contract and expel. The third option was to go into the hospital and do a D&C. I did not want to do a D&C because I did not want to be in a hospital with COVID going on. And for whatever reason, I did not do the option of let it happen naturally. So I chose to do the pill. His birthday was June 17th. My ex's birthday was June 17th. So the decision was made, we're going to celebrate his birthday that day, go out to eat. And then that night I would take the pill because we both were off from work the next 2 or 3 days. So went out to eat to try to celebrate as best we could, and then took the pill that night. That night was the most traumatic, excruciating pain I've ever put my body through. I do not recommend any woman, if prayerfully you don't have to go through that, but I don't recommend taking that pill. If you don't have to, don't do it. I spent the whole night in the bathroom just crying in so much pain. They gave me a narcotic. I couldn't take it because I found out I was allergic to it, so it was causing me to like projectile vomiting, and it was a mess. So, and he was right there. You know, he was scared that he needed to take me to the ER. But in the morning, the pain kind of subsided. So about 72 hours later, I had another doctor's appointment where the purpose of this appointment was to do an ultrasound to see if everything had passed. Everything did not pass. So because of that, my doctor was like, we're going to have to do a D&C. My D&C was scheduled for the first week of July. My boyfriend, my ex, was going to take me. That was always the plan. 2 days before my procedure, he comes home and tells me that he is up for a promotion. He's up to be promoted to VP. Because of this, the president of the company, is coming in, and it was going to be this huge business meeting he had to go to. The business meeting was scheduled for the day of my surgery. And so I'm throwing a fit because I was like, you there's no way you can do that meeting. Like, I need you to take me to the hospital and all this other stuff. And so he offered to have his sister take me to the hospital. Apparently his sister lived in Douglasville. I was like, no, because I've never met her. Like, I'm not having a stranger take me to the hospital. No, this is a private situation. I don't want to do that, blah, blah, blah. So my aunt had offered to take me. And then my friend who took me home from work had offered to take me. So at that point, we get into an argument because he's like, my sister is, you about your family, so why can't she step in? And I was like, nah, because I don't know her, period. I don't know her. So my friend offers to take me to the hospital because I was all distressed that he's saying he has a business meeting and he can't take me. So I remember being on I-75 on the connector on the phone with her crying because I was so embarrassed that he wasn't going to be the one to take me and that I was needing to rely on someone else to take me to the hospital in order to get a D&C done. And she was really great. She was like, girl, this is why you have a village. Like, it's okay. Things happen. The world is crazy right now. I will take you. You're going to be okay. So he did not take me to the hospital for my D&C. My friend did. She could not stay because of COVID protocol. So when they wheeled me into pre-op after I got checked in, I texted him and was just letting him know, hey, here's the update. I'm about to, I'm in pre-op. They're going to get me prepared to go back to the surgical ward or whatever. And the response I got was from his new executive assistant named David. Now, when he told me he was up for the promotion, he did tell me that part of getting this new job would be that he would get an executive assistant named David. And he did tell me, I'm going to make sure that I inform David, if you get a text from this number, meaning from me, pull me out of the meeting because, my fiance's having a procedure done and I'm picking her up. So it's important that you come get me if it's something serious. So I text him. David responds. He said, yeah, Mr. Blah Blah told me that you are having a procedure done. If you need me to get him, I can go get him. He's in a meeting. Just let me know what you need. And I just said, no, don't bother him. I'm just giving an update that they're about to take me back. And David responds and says, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Please let me know if there's anything I can do. So I have the procedure. I wake up and I am now in recovery. I should be in recovery 45 minutes up to an hour and a half. I wake up. First thing I ask, and I remember asking, is where is so-and-so? The nurse who was so sweet, she was like, everything went well. You're doing great. She said, we spoke to your fiance. He's on his way. So I said, okay. I kind of dozed back out, but I could still hear everything that was going on. I just could not keep my eyes open to save my life. So I hear her talk to the other nurse. And that's when she said, Dr. So-and-so called her fiance and his executive assistant picked up. And the executive assistant said that he was in a business meeting and that, you could relay to him what you need to say and he'll tell the fiance. And my doctor was like, hell no, HIPAA, I need to speak to him. So apparently my fiance called the doctor back about 30 minutes later, and the doctor informed him she'll be ready to be discharged in about an hour. You can make your way and come pick her up. He said he was on his way. He was on his way from Duluth to Atlanta, which is not a huge distance, but the time of day, one thing about Atlanta, there's always traffic. So he should have been there within the hour. I should have only been in recovery an hour and a half. Let's go to the next part.
Okay, is it just me or do it sound like Mr. Ex-husband or ex-boyfriend was just not interested in taking her to the doctor for her procedure? Like, I feel like he made those appointments on purpose on the day that she was supposed to have went in. He probably really ain't even at no business meeting. He probably with his other girl, other family on the other side of town or some crazy mess like that. And he had somebody to perform as his executive assistant or what have you to relay him messages just so that it could seem like he is really at this job as a VP. Now, I have yet to hear her say that he has, brought her up to his job to meet people or whatever the case may be, a corporate event or, function like a little party or something. Like, I haven't heard any of that yet, maybe later on in the other parts. But that would be a red flag to me. Like, okay, we've been, together for this amount of time. You ain't have not like a Christmas party or Thanksgiving luncheon or nothing like that family could come to. So, those type of things that I'm thinking about. Like, do he really work where he say he work? Is he really a VP like he say he is a VP? But anywho, let's go ahead and go to part. Before we go to part 7, I think that he is really going to flip the script, and it's going to be something really serious that's about to happen. I don't know. I can't pinpoint it, but I feel like something real serious is about to happen. Let's get into part 7.
Part 7, who the fuck did I marry? So I should have been in recovery at Northside Hospital for about at most an hour and a half. Subsequently, I ended up being in recovery between 3 to 3.5 hours. The nurses kept calling my ex, asking what's the status, because they were actually getting ready to do a shift change. So they kept calling, asking what's the status, like, where are you? I want to say that they called a total of 3 times and they spoke to him twice. So at this point, I knew that they were all like, where's her fiance? Like, what is going on? He said he was stuck in traffic, and so he was making his way there. He eventually did get to Northside Hospital, and they wheeled me down because, again, he couldn't come in just because of the protocols. So when I got in the car, and I'm in pain, but yet drugged up, couldn't keep my eyes open, I was just out of it. But I remember him calling my aunt and my mother and letting them know I picked her up, we're on the way home, let me get her settled, and then I'll give you guys an update. I remember that. What I did not know was that he had texted my aunt and my mom and asked them to not bother me for like a week. Like, just please don't reach out to her. Let her just rest. I am from New Jersey. I am from an African American family. You don't tell my black mama or my black aunt that, please don't bother her for a week. I didn't know this at the time, but I'm just interjecting that part. I'm trying to stay in the timeline, but he did apparently do that, and my aunt was like, well, I will fuck you up. Anyway, so go home. He waits on me hand and foot. I recover. Just needed about 24 to 48 hours to just get my mind right. During this time, in between when the house in Douglasville fell through, we had not talked about a house. So I guess it was about a week later after the DNC, he decides that, do you want to start looking for a house again? Excuse me, I have the hiccups, y'all. Do you want to start looking for a house again? Because of what happened with the house in Douglasville, I felt like I was smarter this time to say, I want to be involved in every aspect, because I don't know what the fuck happened with that house in Douglasville. But what I do know is that he lied to me. I didn't know then what I know now. I just knew he lied about I knew he lied about being under contract. So I told him, I said, I don't want to work with your friend who I've never met, never talked to. I know that he has talked to him because he's talked to him in front of me. And I'm going to demonstrate on one of the videos how he used to do his phone calls. Don't worry, it's coming. So we found a new real estate agent. Really nice guy. His name was Scott. I am using his real name. Really nice guy. And we told him what the budget was. And Scott was like, okay, when you guys are ready, we can start looking at houses. Try to look for houses that are empty because you can actually tour those. If it's a house where someone's already living in there, chances are it's going to have to be a virtual tour because of COVID. So I found a house that I absolutely, in total, we must have looked at about 15 houses. But I found a house in Smyrna that I absolutely loved. We toured the house. Everything about this house was perfect. The house was listed for $699,000. It was a brand new construction build. The only issue was that the basement was not finished, and he wanted the basement to be his man cave. Again, I went with him to tour this house. So this was already feeling very different than the situation in Douglasville, because we did not actually tour the Douglasville house. We only did a FaceTime virtual tour. This house in Smyrna, we toured. We toured this house more than once. And it was gorgeous. Fucking gorgeous. So we talked about it. He said that he had the money. Again, the price was $699. He said he felt comfortable putting in an all-cash offer. If you remember on the videos before, he told me he had money in his savings from when he played football. So when he said an all-cash offer, even I knew, you got that kind of money? Like, where you can cut a cashier's check for $699,000? And he told me he did. He had money in savings from when he played football, and he was very comfortable paying all cash for this home. So the real estate agent, Scott, sent over the paperwork. The paperwork was sent in both of our names. It was sent to my email. That was another thing that I changed after Douglasville. Everything gets sent to me, and then I will be sure that he signs it. So he sent it to me. I looked over the offer. We were going to put in an all cash, full price offer with a request to have the basement finished. Also, we were requesting for the seller to give us an answer within 24 hours. We were requesting a quick closing. These are just some of the things I remember. I remember 24 hours, like I didn't want to wait on, y'all think about it. 24 hours, let us know if you're accepting the offer or not. And then also a quick closing because it was a new construction. So we didn't have to wait for the current tenant to move out. We didn't have to do that. So I watched in our bedroom as he pulled it up, because it was a electronic document. He signed his name to the offer for $699,000 cash. He requested again, the seller let us know in 24 hours if they were accepting the offer. So we submitted the offer at around 6 p.m. We were requesting that by 6 p.m. the next day, they let us know if the offer was accepted or not. I watched him sign the offer. I sent the offer back to Scott from my email. All parties had signed. Scott texted us and said, I got it. I'm submitting it. I will let you know what they say. Let's go into part 7. Sorry. Let's go into part 8. Good grief.
Now, y'all know I'm going to start this off by saying, I wish a nigga would tell my mama or my auntie not to bother me for a whole week. Are you crazy? I'm my mama's child, her only daughter. You're not about to tell her not to call me, to check up on me, to make sure that I'm doing well. Those are fighting words to a parent that's overprotective of their child. But let's get into this second attempt to get a house. They got a new realtor and they found the house, $660 something thousand. This man said he is willing to pay cash. Wow. And just like her, you got that kind of money on you? You got that much money saved up in your little savings account? Because I'm still trying to figure out how you get all that money in your savings account if you got paid by the hour with this arena football. And in 2024, they had $18 something. So if you did it for like 2-3 years, what was you getting paid? $15? Like I'm trying to calculate because it's not calculating. Okay. He definitely is into some fraudulent stuff. I don't care what nobody say. You're not just gonna have that much money just sitting around just to pay for something in cash. Not at all. But I am happy, Pumpkin, you done got your mind right and said, this time around, I want to be involved in every aspect. Everything is going to come through me and I give it to you. You give it back to me and I send it to the realtor. So yeah, that's how it's supposed to have been in the first place. So kudos to you, girl. You actually took charge and you made sure that you was involved in everything. So now let's go ahead and see what she got to say in part 8.
All right, part 8 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? So we submitted an offer on the house in Smyrna. I sent it over to Scott, our realtor, and next day comes, Scott asks if we can take a phone call. So he calls us and tells us that the offer was not accepted and the builder did not do a counter offer. We don't exactly know why. We don't exactly know why he didn't accept it, but the bottom line is that we figured out later on that he didn't want to finish the basement. So the offer was not accepted. The house fell through. I was okay with that because, again, I knew he had put in an offer. So we continued looking at other houses. We found another house in Smyrna that he really liked. I thought that it was way too big for just the two of us. And so the price of this home was much higher than the $750,000 that Chase had approved for the mortgage. So what he explained to me was that he was willing to do the $750,000 mortgage, and he was also willing to put a significant amount of the money in savings on the house, which meant that he was now comfortable going from $750,000 up to about $900,000. Again, his whole explanation was, I have the money where I can put down a substantial down payment, bring down the price of the home, and then basically mortgage the rest of it. So that was now the plan. I was not comfortable with a home over $900,000. But again, keep in mind, I saw the Chase paperwork. So I was like, I just feel more comfortable sticking at the $750,000 mark. That's what you were approved for. Let's go with that. By this point, this is now fall of 2020. We have been talking about marriage. I had my ring. He had made VP at the company. And again, he was calling me every day from work. I need to kind of explain how the company was ran, because when you think VP, you would think he would be in an office. It was a condiment company, so they actually were producing the condiments, and I'm not saying the name of the company on purpose, but they were producing the condiments in this particular plant location. So a lot of times he would simply tell me that he walked the floor, checking in with his subordinates, basically. Now, how did he go to work? For the most part, at this point, he left before I woke up. However, pretty much he wore dress pants, kind of like a dark navy blue cargo pant, and he had a polo shirt with the company logo on it. What I saw a lot of times is that he would not wear the polo shirt to work. He would wear like a company t-shirt. He would wear rubber sole shoes and the navy blue cargo pants. I didn't think it was a uniform, but it reminded me of what someone would wear when I worked at Amazon, if you're going to be doing manual labor. He didn't go to work sloppy looking at all, but it definitely was not suit and tie. Nowhere near suit and tie. It is fair to note that outside of work, he was a man who he loved to dress. He loved to wear the latest Jordans. He loved to collect watches. He collected a lot of Invicta watches. He loved to collect hats. He wore hats, baseball caps everywhere because he didn't like the shape of his head. So in terms of how he dressed casually, the man, he could dress. In terms of how he dressed for work, yeah, he didn't dress like a VP. But his excuse was, I'm constantly walking the production floor, and I can't be in a suit and tie walking the production floor where they're creating the condiments that we're selling. So by this point, again, this is fall. We're still looking at houses. We're still touring houses as much as we can because it is COVID. We had found another house that we really liked and a house that I really, truly wanted to put an offer in on. This was now going to be the second house that we put an offer on. He put in the asking price, I believe, was about $700,000. He put in under asking an offer for about $650,000. I'm guessing, but I'll try to find the house and put it on the story. The reason that house fell through, we found out that the home was sitting on a septic tank. We found out that the septic tank had an issue, and it would have taken about $15,000 to $20,000 to fix the septic tank. The sellers were not willing to fix the septic tank. Personally, I didn't really care for the house that much. I'm the one who was like, I don't really want it. So even though we put an offer in, we had 24 hours where we could pull our offer back. And so we did. Once we found out, I believe it was in the disclosure. And if you're a realtor, please feel free to tell me if I'm using the wrong terminology. But I believe it was in the disclosure that they told us the septic tank needs to be replaced. That's when I was like, nah, I don't want that house. So we pulled out. The house fell through. And so I was fine with it because, again, I was heavily involved. I saw him sign the offer. I knew every step of what was going on. Our real estate agent, Scott, was amazing, but you will see when I get to it where he made a mistake as a real estate agent. So house number 2 fell through. We then moved on, saw a few more houses, and then we get to house number 3. I'm going to pause talking about the houses because now I need to introduce what happened with the cars. Stay tuned.
You know what? At this point, I'll be like, you know what? I am tired of putting offers in on houses and they keep falling through for whatever fucking reason. That can be stressful and tiresome. At this point, let's just get a fucking condo and call it a fucking day. Y'all trying to buy houses 700,000, 750,000. This fool time out he willing to go up to 900,000 when you got approved for 750,000. Like what? And she's still going along with it. She's still going along with it. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that, he invested his money from the arena football and shit like that. And it's like vice president, like how much money was you really getting a year? Like the money is just not adding up to me, y'all. That's what's breaking my brain. The money is not adding up to me. Let's go ahead and go to part 9.
All right. Part 9 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? So we're pausing on the house stuff. Let me tell you about the car. So when I met my ex-husband, I was driving a 2012 Nissan Rogue, fully loaded. It had quite a few miles on it, but it got me from A to B. It was in good condition, but I was upside down in the car. He was driving a 2018 Ford Taurus, sport mode. I know he had a sport mode on the car, and I love driving that car. When he told me how he was a regional manager, he told me that one of the perks that came with the job was that he would be getting a company car. And so we spent time going to Range Rover of South Atlanta. We spent time going to Jaguar. We spent time going to BMW. We spent time going to Ford, which was on Mount Zion in Morrow, if you all are familiar with that area. He test drove a whole lot of cars. In the end, he decided on a BMW sedan. I was there when he test drove the car. I got in the car with him. I loved it. And he explained to the salesperson, I'm getting a company car. I need to get a printout of the full price of the car, tax, tag, and title. Because what my company is going to do is wire over the money for the car. The salesperson was like, okay, apparently that happens a lot. So he gave him a printout with the tax, tag, and title for the car. In front of me and the salesperson, he called the person in the finance department for his job. Obviously, I have no idea what this person's name is, but he called the person. He explained to them, this is the amount of money. He said the president of the company, so-and-so, has authorized for him to get a car, not spending more than, I think, $90,000 tax, tag, and title. The BMW came out to just under $90,000. And so I remember this conversation so fucking vividly. So he's on the phone in front. I'm sitting down, the salesperson sitting down at their desk, and he's like, they put me on hold. And so he's like, I guess the person comes back and he says, the price of the car is blah, blah, blah. He was like, give me a second and I can send you a picture of that printout that shows tax, tag, and title for the BMW. He gets off the phone. He takes a picture of it. He sends it to whoever. He waits about 10 minutes. He calls the person back. He says, did you get it? Apparently the person did get it. But the person who can actually physically do the wire transfer had gone home for the day. So what he says to the BMW salesperson, he's like, okay, we're going to have to do this tomorrow because so-and-so went home for the day. I don't know who the salesperson is. I can only tell you from my viewpoint what I thought. I had no reason to think this was a lie. I really didn't. Because again, you got to please keep in mind the circumstances that all of this is happening. We're inside the dealership. We're sitting at the desk of this person. He gave us the printout. He's on the phone, doing business, basically saying, look, I need this is how much money the car is going to cost. He's taking a picture of it. He seemingly is texting someone saying this is how much, this is proof of how much it is. Then he asked the BMW salesperson, I need your wire transfer information. The guy got up, rushed over to, I guess, their finance area to get the bank wire information, because obviously you have to wire it a certain kind of way. Rushes back over, gives it to my ex-husband. My ex-husband's like, okay, first thing in the morning, we will get this wired over, and then, I'll come and pick up the car. My fiance, me, will drive me up here to pick up the car. So we leave. He felt like, because at the time that this all happened, I was pregnant. So he felt like, look, we're about to have a baby. I don't want you driving that Nissan Rogue. I want to get you something more secure, something new. I really wanted a Kia. I really wanted a Kia Telluride. And he was like, well, let's look at the warranty. This man knew a lot about cars. He knew a lot about the warranty. He knew a lot about the depreciation value. And so he did talk to me a lot about what will we get the most for our money. We test drove, when I say we, I test drove a Kia Telluride, a Kia Sorento. He didn't like either of those. He had me test drive a Ford Explorer. He didn't really care for that. Then came time where he really wanted me to get a BMW. He really wanted me to get a BMW X5. So he took me to Global BMW Imports, which, if you know anything about Atlanta, it's off of Cobb Parkway, but you can see it off the highway. I believe 285 is where you can see the Global Imports BMW dealership. He took me there. He had me test drive an X5, an X6. He also had me test drive I think I'm gonna get the numbers wrong, a 525, which was a sedan. I did not like that. I wanted an SUV. I loved driving the BMW. He also had me drive an M-Series, test drive an M-Series. So he was very adamant that I should get a BMW. The reason being is because, according to him, he had a BMW in California when he lived in San Diego. He had a BMW that he loved. It was a white BMW. He showed me pictures of the BMW. So he showed me pictures of this white BMW that he had, and unfortunately, the car got totaled about 2 months before he moved to Georgia. So he had received money, not a lot, but some money to get another car, and he used it to get the Ford Taurus, because he was like, I just need a car that's going to get me from A to B until I get into a house and I'm much more settled. For him, he was like, I'm really giving myself 60 days to get settled here in Georgia after moving from California. But then he met me. Again, that's the story. So he had me test drive the BMW. So much so, I loved the BMW. Loved it. I wanted a dark blue BMW with cognac interior. I wanted an X5, and I wanted an M-Series. So I can clearly tell y'all that's exactly the car I wanted. We were online looking for that particular car because not every dealership had it. I was okay with a black BMW if needed. But I really wanted dark blue, and I really wanted that cognac colored interior. So he felt like, I want you to consider all of a sudden an Audi Q8. Let's just see how you like it. If you don't really like it, then we will go back to the BMW. I cannot tell you why he switched up. I can't. But I can tell you he took me to an Audi dealership on Peachtree Industrial. He test drove an Audi, and I test drove an Audi Q8. I loved the Q8. Loved it. But I was tired of test driving cars. By this point, I had test driven so many cars. Our weekends were spent either looking at a house or test driving cars. And I was picky, I will admit that. So he had me test drive the Q8. I really liked it. I finally just told him, look, I'm good with either the BMW or the Audi, because I'm tired of test driving cars. He told my family he was buying me a new car because, keep in mind, let me let y'all know, he had met my family initially on Zoom, because again, we were locked down. He had met my family. He also had met my family in person, because at this point it was like, look, if you're not showing any symptoms, maybe we can do family dinner. And so he had met my family in person. And now we will go ahead and move towards part 10 of this series.
I really am trying to figure out exactly what his motive was for test driving all those different types of cars. It sounds unreal to me, of somebody test driving so many cars in one day. Like, it's something about, I don't know, y'all. I can't put my finger on it, but something is just telling me that homeboy is trying to put a fast one on her. I feel like he's trying to get her to get these cars so that if anything goes wrong, she will be responsible for the payments on that car. I don't know. Something just sounds fishy. But let's go ahead and get into part 10.
Okay, part 10. Who the fuck did I marry? Okay, had to sneeze. All right, so at this point, I had test driven all these cars. Kias. Hell, he even had me test drive a Nissan Murano. But the main two were BMW and an Audi. He had told my grandfather he was getting me a car. He had told my aunt he was getting me a car. That he was going to, he was like, she's going to be my wife. I want her to be in something secure. So my family was really like, wow, wow. Who knew that he had this kind of money? And so I hated the fact that he did that, because anytime he got around my family, here's another red flag to put in the United Nations of red flags, he would always talk about money, and he would always brag. I never realized it in real time. I didn't realize it until I was out of the situation. He always bragged about the fact that he could fight, the fact that he had money, and the fact that he played football. Those are the three things he always bragged about. Back to the cars. So I told him, I was like, pick one between the BMW and the Audi, because you said you buying it. So pick one. So this man chose the Audi. So he takes me to the dealership. I wanted a white Q8. He does give me the printout of how much it's going to cost, tax, tag, and title, to get this Q8. Gentleman who's helping us gives him the printout. He's saying he's going to pay this money for the car out of the savings account that's offshore. That's the story. That's what he's saying. So he apparently is asking the guy, is there a holding fee? Can I pay a holding fee to secure this car while I'm working to get the money transferred? Because obviously with COVID, it's going to take long for the banks to transfer the money. Side note, I need everyone to understand, one of the reasons why he was able to get away with the stuff he got away with is because we were on lockdown. It's crazy because it's now 2024, but I don't know, do we all remember how it seemed like a lot of stuff stopped in 2020? Now, keep in mind, that's not an excuse I'm making, because shit still got done. But in terms of business as usual just was not happening in 2020 at this time. So when he's saying, it's going to take a while for the bank to transfer the money, the gentleman who was working at Audi he didn't make a face. He didn't blink. He was like, I know it's going to take a while because of COVID. So basically what ends up happening is we leave. He has the printout. He calls the bank, or he calls his financial advisor, who does have a name. The financial advisor's name is Eric. I feel comfortable using certain people's names, especially if we find out they didn't exist. So he calls Eric. He tells Eric in front of me, hey, I need to transfer $72,526, whatever the amount was, because I'm buying a car for my fiance. This is the bank account information. Do you need me to give it to you over the phone, or do you need me to email it to you? Pause. I can't hear what the person's saying, but that's what he would do. Do you need me to give it to you over the phone, or can I email it to you? Okay. All right, give me a few minutes and I'll go ahead and email it to you. All right, let me know. I'll call you back to find out if you received it. Okay, hang up. So I'm hearing this because, again, I'm not paying attention to, did I hear anybody on the other phone? Did I hear anybody on the other end? So he proceeds to type up an email, type up something, telling him this is the information that we need. I didn't think anything of it. He called me at work the next day to tell me that the money was sent to Audi, that he called Audi and he confirmed with Audi that they received the money. What he told me is that the car is going to be delivered to the house. Y'all, it's not that I lived in the hood, because I didn't, but I did not live in an area of Clayton County where you would have a brand new Audi delivered to your house. So I remember saying to him, I don't want that car delivered to the house, not yet, because I need to put that car in the garage. And my Nissan I only had a 1-car garage, so my Nissan was in the garage. So he said, okay, well, let me call them back and change the delivery date. Can you be home, or can you do a half day? So he's asking me, can you work a half day so that they can deliver the car and you will be home for it? I said, yes, that's fine. Because again, it's COVID. I'm working from home anyway. I only had to go in the office 2 days a week. So I'm at home the next day. He told me the car would be delivered between the hours of 1 and 3. Obviously, between 1 and 3, nothing happened. So 3 o'clock, I called him. He's at work. He sends me the voicemail. He calls me back. I said, it's 3 o'clock. No one ever came with the car. What's going on? And then I remember I was like, well, do I need to call Audi myself? Because I thought that you handled it. But if you didn't handle it, do I need to call them? And so whenever I would suggest I will handle it, he would get very, very defensive. Red flag number 472. So he was like, no, I will call Audi. Don't do anything. I'll call Audi and find out what's going on. Okay. So I'm at home chilling, cooking dinner, normal night. He calls me back and says, yeah, the car was stuck on the truck in Spartanburg, because apparently that's where their deliveries come from. So when he told me this, I was in the kitchen laughing, because by this point, I will be honest, and I told y'all I'll be honest even when it makes me look bad. I was guilty of, on one hand, I believed him, and on the other hand, I was like, let me see what lie he come up with. Let me just see. But keep in mind, my brain was really not rationalizing, not comprehending how deep the lie was. I just thought that no one told him the car was going to be delivered, and he made that up. I had no idea how deep the lie went. So he said, the car's in Spartanburg. It should be delivered this weekend. The weekend came, he had a whole other excuse. I don't remember what the exact excuse was as to why the car was never delivered. I do remember we got into an argument, and I was like, don't even worry about it. I'm going to get a new car my damn self. I don't even need your help. Which is probably one of the worst things you can tell a narcissist, because they love to be the hero, it's all about them. But I was like, don't even worry about it. I'll get, when I have the money to get a car myself, I'll do it. I don't want to hear anything else about a new car. I don't want to hear shit else about a car. Because at this point, I was spending way too much time trying to figure out, are we getting a car? Are we getting a house? Like, what the fuck is going on? Always there was an excuse. So when I told him I don't want to hear anything else about a car, and I am not going to a dealership to test drive another car, that ended that whole discussion right there. So this is where I'm going to interject what I believe was happening. I believe that my ex-husband is the type of person, he gets off, nut. He gets off on you being excited about something that he knows you will never get. So I believe that he enjoyed going to car dealerships. He enjoyed watching me test drive a car and get excited about it, knowing I was not going to get it. It is the level of cruelty. And again, I'm telling y'all stuff that I found out way later on. It is the level of cruelty that I still cannot comprehend. So the whole issue about the BMW and the Audi, I think he just enjoyed seeing me get excited and then pull it away. Part 11 coming up.
Whew, child. Yeah, y'all be saying that dang near for every episode that I do of this series, because this is a lot to unpack. Now, when they were in the dealership and he quote unquote called his financial advisor to get money transferred from this so-called offshore account, y'all, there is no offshore account. I am 1,000% sure of that. But what I also want to say is, when he was on the phone with this financial advisor, something told me, yeah, ain't nobody on the other end of that phone, pumpkin. Ain't nobody on the other end of that phone. Because if you are going to call your financial advisor regarding a company car, they already know what the procedure is. They already know what needs to be done. So to ask, do you want me to just tell you over the phone, or do you want me to send you an email? Like, they're going to want paper trail on everything that they do dealing with company, providing company cars or houses or whatever the case may be. That's a perk for working at this company. I don't know, y'all. It's just, I'm feeling like, and I have not seen any other parts yet, but I'm feeling like this man, and she even said one of the characteristics, he's a narcissist, but he's also a mass manipulator. He is quick on his feet with his comebacks, with his responses, with his excuses, and he's saying things to make her continue to trust him and continue to ride with him and go along with him and his shenanigans. And I guarantee you, that man is probably like, when they at home and she sleep, he probably sitting somewhere just laughing his tail off for the simple fact that he thinking that she is so gullible, that she is believing anything that I'm telling her. Because for one, she don't know nothing about cars. Two, she don't know nothing about real estate. So I can tell her the sky is purple when all her life she known it to be blue. But she gonna believe what I'm telling her. So he knows she's gullible. And she is. She is gullible in this situation because she just wants to be in a relationship. She wants to be married. She wants to be in a family. She wants to have the white picket fence and, the fairy tale. She is living in a fairy tale right now. That's just my personal opinion. Because she seen the flags. They red as hell. When she said, when they was at the dealership and he called the financial advisor, She didn't think nothing of it, and she didn't think that he would lie about this. And in my mind, I'm like, Pumpkin. I know her name is not Pumpkin, y'all, but she just looked like a pumpkin to me. Like, she looked like a pumpkin, the nickname Pumpkin. She just do. So I'm going to call her Pumpkin through this series. Pumpkin, that man lied to you about putting in an offer at a house. That man lied to you about a house. What makes you think he not gonna lie to you about a car? Let me tell you something. I'm a Sagittarius. The moment you lie to me about something big like that, I will question everything that you tell me going forward. I don't care. And if something is nagging me, I'm going to investigate. Because see, now you have put a wedge in the trust factor among us. It's just all the flags were there for her at that moment to cut ties, and she did not want to. I am going to end this right here. And the next episode is going to be parts 11 through 15. So y'all let me know what y'all think about part 6 through 10 in the comment section below. And let's have a dialogue about this. It's about to get crazy. My gut telling me it's about to get crazy. Stick tuned. Thank you all for watching the series. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, of course. And thank you for new subscribers. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Later.